Co-ownership of property is a legal concept that refers to the joint ownership of real estate by two or more individuals or entities. There are two main types of co-ownership: tenancy in common and joint tenancy. Tenancy in common is a form of co-ownership in which each owner has a separate, undivided interest in the property. Each owner has the right to use and occupy the entire property, and each owner can sell, mortgage, or transfer their interest in the property without the consent of the other owners. Upon the death of one owner, their interest passes to their heirs or is directed in their will. This type of co-ownership is common for investment properties or properties shared by non-married couples. Here is an example of tenancy in common. John and Mary own a rental property as tenants in common. John owns 60% of the property, and Mary owns 40%. Each has the right to use the entire property, and each is responsible for their share of the expenses related to the property, such as taxes and maintenance costs. Another example of tenancy in common is when a group of people inherit a property together. If three siblings inherit a house from their parents, and they agree to own the property as tenants in common, each would have an equal share in the property, regardless of their financial contribution to the property. One of the main advantages of tenancy in common is that it allows multiple people to own a property together, which can make it more affordable to buy a property. It also allows each owner to sell, mortgage, or give away their share of the property without the consent of the other owners. However, tenancy in common also has some disadvantages. For example, if one tenant in common wants to sell the property, the other tenants may not be able to afford to buy out their share, which could lead to a forced sale of the property. Additionally, if one tenant in common fails to pay their share of the property expenses, the other tenants may be held responsible for the debt. Joint tenancy is another form of co-ownership, in which each owner has an equal and undivided interest in the property. In joint tenancy, the right of survivorship applies, which means that when one owner dies, their interest passes to the surviving owners. This type of co-ownership is common for married couples who wish to hold title to their property in this way. For example, John and Sarah purchase a vacation home together as joint tenants. They both have equal ownership of the property, and if one of them were to pass away, their share would automatically pass to the other. Another example is two business partners who own a commercial property together as joint tenants. If one partner were to pass away, their share of the property would pass to the surviving partner. One important aspect of joint tenancy is that all owners have equal rights to the property. This means that they must all agree on decisions related to the property, such as making repairs or improvements. Joint tenancy is often compared to tenancy in common. The key difference between the two is the right of survivorship. In tenancy in common, each owner has a separate and distinct share of the property, and there is no right of survivorship. This means that if one owner dies, their share of the property will pass to their heirs or is directed by their will. Overall, there are several pros and cons of co-ownership of properties. Some of the benefits include the ability to share the costs of the property, the opportunity to invest in a property that might be too expensive to purchase on one's own, and the ability to share the use of the property. On the other hand, some of the drawbacks include the potential for disagreements among co-owners, the difficulty of selling one's interest in the property, and the possibility of co-owners becoming financially responsible for each other's debts. It's important to carefully consider the pros and cons of co-ownership before entering into such an arrangement.